welcome to my channel. I am Rosalind Keats, and if you are here for the very first time, I just want to extend to you a warm welcome to my channel. I talk about everything homeschooling and family, and do cleaning and organizing inspiration, as well as Bible journaling videos. I talk about keto. So there are a lot of different things that you'll find here on my channel. Today we are talking about the Christmas books that we read in my home, as well as whether or not we do a unit study, and we do. So we're going to be talking about that today. This video is in collaboration with A Woman on a Journey. She is the host for this collaboration. You will find a link to her channel below. I encourage you to just go check out her channel. She has amazing material on her channel. She has so much homeschooling material, so much encouragement on her channel. I know that you're going to love it. I enjoy visiting her channel on a regular basis. There are also a lot of other homeschooling moms that are going to be contributing to this topic. And so you want to check out that playlist below, because you will find, I'm sure, lots and lots of ideas for reading. And that is what we're going to start off with. We're going to start off with books that we read in my house for Christmas. Some of these are nostalgic, and some of these are ones that are a little bit more on my children's reading level, and so we're going to visit those. But before we do, I just want to give you a little bit of a glimpse into our sort of family Christmas culture. Now, I'm American, and so you know, my Christmas culture is typically American. My dad and mom, they love to decorate for Christmas. My dad, he does all of the outside lights, and the whole house gets transformed into like a Christmas house from the movies. I mean, he decorates all around the eaves of the house and all around the porch, and the entire yard gets decorated. It is just beautiful. And my mother, the day after Thanksgiving, she takes down all of the fall stuff, all of the usual decor, and the whole house gets transformed into a winter wonderland. It is just amazing what they do. And it's always been like that. And so, you know, that has always been sort of, I don't know, a bit of nostalgia for me. Just like, okay, this pillow, I just remember you mentioned this pillow. And by the way, I had to really dig through some boxes to find my Christmas stuff. Not this pillow. I bought this pillow yesterday. It does go along with a mug that I have. I got from the same store last year. They had this in a mug. And so I picked that up. And then this year, as soon as that pillow came out, I had my eye on it, and I finally bought it yesterday. Because it's so nostalgic for me, because as a kid, we used to go out with my dad into the woods. We would chop down a tree and we would bring it home. That was just our family tradition. It was part of our family tradition, is going out in the woods and chopping down a tree. And so, as a matter of fact, when I was young, we won't talk about how long ago that was. I was a senior in high school. It's been a long time ago. I used to work at Hallmark, and I remember the year they came out with a Hallmark ornament. Probably no one remembers this except for me. But it was quite a big ornament. I mean, you need a sturdy branch to hang this ornament on. And it was electric back then, but you know, it's been a lot of years now. It doesn't work anymore. But it was a father, go around in a circle like this. It was a father and the kids, and I think there was like a little dog sort of kind of hopping behind them all. Dragging a tree into the house through the snow. And I bought that for my dad, and I inherited it a few years ago. So now it hangs on my tree. And so anyway, that's my family Christmas culture. My husband he was born and raised in Bosnia. Obviously it was during Yugoslavia. And his Christmas culture is remarkably different, because you know, back then it was Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was communist. And even though, like, we say communist, you know, the American mind immediately goes to, like, you know, communist Russia, you know, behind the Iron Curtain. And yes, Croatia was, you know, officially communist, but it was more socialist than communist. And so people did still you know, have some of these, you know, like religious practices, but it was not at all like what I grew up with. And so for him, Christmas is more about the baking, more about, you know, the kitchen smells, you know, a big Christmas meal, you know, roasting a pig over a spitfire outside. That is really his idea of Christmas. My idea of Christmas is the whole package. It is the tree. It is the presents. It is the baking. It is the candy making. My mom always did almond roca. She always made peanut brittle, all of that. And so for me, it's the whole package. For him, it's just, you know, the kitchen. And so our first years together as a married couple, I made him very uncomfortable because, you know, I was going to recreate my family Christmas in my new home in this new country. And, you know, I couldn't, of course, do the real tree. I couldn't go out into a forest and chop down a tree, but so we, you know, I compromised and got the artificial tree, but boy, I decorated that thing from top to bottom, and the house and all of that. But over the years, and of course, now we have 2 children, and then now he's like already, you know, day after Thanksgiving, because we do celebrate Thanksgiving in my house. Even he's already like, when are you going to decorate the house? Let's decorate the house. And he loves the Christmas music. He loves all of that. And so, you know, things have shifted and changed. And even yesterday he came home from work and he was like, oh, it just smells like Christmas. The house smells like Christmas because I have a cinnamon candle burning. And he's just like, I can't wait for Christmas. And, you know, of course, we're seeing just Christmas decorations already in the stores. The day after All Saints Day, they started, you know, already putting out Christmas stuff. So the atmosphere is here. It's here. I typically do not decorate our house until December 1. But this year I am going to go ahead and compromise and do it the day after Thanksgiving. So new traditions are going to be born. Let's get on with the books. So like I said, some of these are little, you know, I have a little board book in here. I have a golden book in here. These are nostalgic. I have more books that are going to be on my younger son's reading level. I have a read aloud in here. I have all kinds of stuff. So let's get started. So this book I got when my kids were toddlers. I think my younger son was maybe a year old. I think it might have been his second Christmas. He was born just before Christmas. So his first Christmas, he was just a couple months old. So anyway, this is the story of Christmas. You have this star cut out. It's a window book. They loved to put their fingers in there when they were little. They just, you know, always sticking their little finger in there. So it just goes through the Christmas story. It's very simple, but this book, they love this book. They will not part with this book for anything. And so this one we keep for nostalgic reasons. This is another one, A Stable in Bethlehem, a little golden book. This is a counting book. We all know how toddlers love counting. So it goes through the numbers starting with 12 and it goes back to 1. And my kids love this. Of course, you know, I don't know. There's something about golden books that are just, they're just so nostalgic. This one is a little bit more on my my younger son's reading level. And so it's got, you know, more words on the page, and it's a little bit longer. As you can see, it's several pages long. And so this is one he could read probably in one day. It would take him a little bit longer, but this is perfect for him for that. This is one I picked up. I think I picked this one up last year or the year before here. It's again, the Christmas story. This is a creation, obviously. It's the story of Jesus, or I'm sorry, the birth of Jesus. And so, anyway, this is one, again, it's got a lot of pages, and, you know, more words on each page. And so this is another one I'm going to give him to read this year on his own. We read both of those last year together, but this year he's going to read on his own. Okay, so here is one, again, that we keep for nostalgic reasons. And this one, it's, you know, a full page of words and then an illustrated picture. Of course, it goes along with the with the VeggieTale movie, Star of Christmas, which we have on VHS. We're probably the only ones left on planet Earth that still has VHS, but we do. We have almost all of the VeggieTales still on VHS. We will be watching this. They will be reading through this together. So it's a little bit, it will be challenging, I think, for my older son, because there are so many words. He is a little bit of a struggling reader, but it's something that they can look at together. So here is our special book, The Legend of the Candy Cane. If you have never read this book, I encourage you, please get this. Now we got a hardbound book because this has become a family tradition for us. We read it at least once every year. We usually do some sort of an activity. There is so much online that you can find, free resources to do that go along with this. Talking about the legend of the candy cane, such a beautiful story. I get choked up at the end every single time. It is just beautiful, absolutely, and beautifully illustrated. I mean, just the illustrations in this, absolutely gorgeously illustrated. Wonderful book. And then for our read aloud, we are doing Treasures of the Snow by Patricia St. John. This is obviously a translated version. I started this with my kids a couple of years ago, but it just kind of went over their head a little bit. And so we're going to start it again this year. I think this is the perfect year to start it. I think that they will understand it a lot more. The story is absolutely beautiful. I remember reading this when I was a preteen. There's obviously a movie that goes along with that. And so, so beautiful. Okay, so those are the books that we typically read every year. About our unit studies. Our first year of homeschooling, this is our third year. We started off by just homeschooling my younger son. We got to about early December and we began considering homeschooling our older son. He was doing well in school, but he wasn't, we could tell that, you know, in an earlier video I talked about, we had no time for discipleship. We had no time for family devotions. And that was something that was terribly important to us, raising our children, not just to be good children, but to be godly children. And we really didn't have the time for that we wanted. And so that was when we decided to homeschool our older son. And so he did have a lot of homework, which is why there was no time for family devotions, because there was just, his homework load was just enormous. And so our first year, our first Christmas break, we just did a cold break. We just, you know, put school aside. We didn't talk about school. We didn't think about school. We didn't do anything school related. We just took a break. And then last year I decided I wanted to take the entire month of December and study, do a Christmas around the world study. I looked at different unit studies, and there were things that I liked about them and things that I didn't like about them. And so what I did was I sort of piecemealed. I just grabbed the things that I liked from all these different studies and I put them together and sort of did my own thing. And so we picked 3 countries because we did 3 weeks. I picked 3 countries. We did Russia, Germany, and Mexico. But then when Hanukkah began, then we also threw in Israel, and we studied Hanukkah for a day or 2. And so here's what we did. We first of all learned how to say Merry Christmas in that language. So we learned how to say it in Spanish, in Russian, in German, and in Hebrew. Not Merry Christmas in Hebrew. We learned Happy Hanukkah, obviously. And so we did we did that. We also listened to a Christmas carol in that language from that country. We did a cooking project from that country. Of course, we looked at their different traditions from that country. So how do they traditionally celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah? And we did some sort of a little activity. There were also like little ornaments that you could make. So we did like Matryoshka dolls one week. And then we also did some geography. So we found where those countries were on the globe. And we talked about, you know, what is their climate like in December? Is it cold? So is it cold like it is here? Although it's not Usually when I moved here, almost 20 years ago, it was significantly colder than it is now. It's much warmer now in December than it used to be. And so anyway, we kind of looked at that and compared it to what is it like in Croatia. So, but then we also read some books. And so I have these on Kindle because it is increasingly harder for me to get books via Amazon, especially since COVID. So I just went with the easier way and doing it on Kindle. So when we studied Russia, we read The Nutcracker. And this is so beautifully illustrated. This is absolutely a gorgeous version of this book. I was so happy with that. So we're probably going to do that again. When we studied Germany, we read St. Nicholas, The Real Story of the Christmas Legend. Now, if you don't do Santa Claus, and we don't do Santa Claus in my house, this book is beautiful. So this is not Santa Claus. This is not the Americanized story of St. Nicholas. This is very much the actual story of St. Nicholas. When we did Mexico, we read The Night of Las Posadas. And this again is beautifully illustrated. I think we read this more than once because it was just so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful story, beautifully illustrated. We will definitely read that again. Another book, this did not go along with our unit study, but this is a book that I had as a girl, The Three Trees. If you've never read this book, I really encourage you, please go get that book. It'll make you cry. I always cry at the end of that book. This is another one I think that we read more than once last year. And then another one, not even Christmas, it's winter. But I did this the first year of homeschooling with my younger son. We did an entire unit study around it. The Snowy Day by Ezra Keats. This is, oh my word, we did a unit study with this. There's a whole unit study that goes along. So there's copy work, there is art project, there is tons of stuff that goes along with this. He loved this book. Oh my word, he loved this book. He would read it multiple times a day. He went on YouTube and was searching for all of the versions of read alouds, and there's even a little kind of cartoon that goes along with it. He loved this book and he read it again last year. He'll read it again this year, I am sure. So The Snowy Day by Ezra Keats. I remember reading this when I was in daycare. I remember reading this when I taught daycare. It's very nostalgic for me as well. So this year we are going to continue our Christmas Around the World unit study. But I think I'm going to change it up a little bit. So first of all, we're going to continue doing history. We are studying the Middle Ages. So I thought, how fun would it be to talk about how they celebrated Christmas in the Middle Ages as opposed to today? So what were their traditions? What did they decorate for Christmas? Of course, we know that Martin Luther was the first one to use a Christmas tree. So seeing, the snow and the ice sparkle on the trees, he got the idea to light a tree. That comes from Martin Luther. So he chopped down a tree and brought it in his house and lit the tree. And that was sort of where that tradition began. This was when, it was during the Middle Ages, is when, the Christmas tree was brought into the house. So of course, my children also know about Martin Luther because we do the Reformation every year. Since our church here in Croatia is a heritage of the Reformation for us is enormous. It's a huge celebration, and we celebrate the Reformation every year. But we're going to take 1 week and talk about Christmas, how they celebrated Christmas in the Middle Ages. Then we are going to do Holland 1 week because my husband has a brother who lives in Holland. We did Germany last year. He has another brother who lives in Germany, works in Germany. And so kind of bringing in those family elements of this is where your uncle lives and this is how they celebrate Christmas traditionally in that country. I think doing Christmas in Holland, Christmas in Holland, Christmas in Holland sort of goes together. I don't know, so beautiful. And I think the final week, I think we're going to do maybe like a non-traditional country. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really pinpointed what we're going to do that final week, but I do want to kind of maybe bring in a non-traditional Christmas country, do something sort of out of the box. And that will take a little bit of research on my part, sort of like also Christmas in the Middle Ages is going to take a little bit of research, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be exciting. And of course, we're going to do Hanukkah again this year. I do not have anything that I can point to as far as here to go for a unit study, because again, I just pulled from a lot of different resources. I just went online. I did, some coloring pages or activities from one place, and then, borrowed a few things from a unit study from another place, and just sort of meshed it all together. I sort of did my own things. I created a thermometer. So when we talked about, what is the climate like in that country, then they colored up on the thermometer to how many degrees Celsius. And, so I created some of my own stuff. I just sort of really piecemealed it all together. I didn't take a lot of pictures last year, and I kind of feel bad about that. So it's even hard to sort of show you what we did, because I didn't really do a lot of pictures. We all 3 out of 4 of us got COVID last year in the month of December. So actually being able to pull back and do something more relaxing, that was a welcome break for us, because we were also dealing with COVID last year. I do have this picture that I'm inserting right now of them with their little packs. So what I did was I took everything that we did, the art projects, put it together in a little book. So we made a little cover page to go with it. We, did some map work. We did a flag from that country. We did, all of that. And then all of that got put together in a little booklet and stapled together. And so, we have those as little keepsakes, and we're going to do that again this year. So there you go. That's what we're doing. The books that I mentioned, all of the books, I will link down below. I just encourage you to check out all those books. All of them are beautiful. They are ones that I've definitely curated, that we look at every single year, and we're going to continue to look at them from year to year. Some of those, even as an adult, I still love to read, even though they're children's stories. They just hold so much significance and, a little bit of nostalgia, but the stories are beautiful. The illustrations are gorgeous. And so I encourage you to just check those out. Also in the description below, again, check out A Woman on a Journey. Check out her channel. I know that you're just going to really enjoy her. Be sure to follow her. Leave some channel love in her comment section. Be sure to also check out that playlist, because I know there are going to be a lot of moms that are going to be contributing their own traditions to this as well. And I know I'm going to be definitely checking those out. I love to see what other people are doing. It's always fun to see what other people are doing, and then just sort of try some things. You never know when something you try might actually become a beloved family tradition. So be sure to check out that playlist. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know. Do you guys read any of these books that we are reading traditionally? What is your favorite Christmas book that you read with your kids? Do you do unit studies with your kids? What do you do as a family in the month of December for homeschooling? Or what are your favorite Christmas traditions in general? Maybe you don't homeschool. But every family has their little traditions. Do you decorate the day after Thanksgiving, or do you wait until the month of December to decorate? What do you do? Some people don't decorate until New Year's Eve, and their kids wake up to a winter wonderland in their house. So what is your tradition on that? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to leave that thumbs up and let me know. Be sure to also follow my channel. Ring the bell for notifications, because I do upload several times a week, and so you don't want to miss anything that's coming out. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.